Hi, Marlene. How are you?
I'm just great. How are you doing?
Fine. I haven't seen you face to face since World Thinking Day last year, wasn't it?
It was. It was a wonderful. I'm glad we got to do it last year because we neither of us been able to travel and see each other since then.
Yeah. But I've enjoyed all the World Thinking Day sessions that we have been doing.
I did. I did.
Anyway, we're busy now with the Pax Lodge 30th birthday, aren't we?
We are. It was so. We had everything planned so wonderfully to have a face-to-face session, and we have had to adjust. It's been
Yeah.
an adjustment for all of us, but it's been a great learning process for all of
Yeah.
us.
And I say something the friends have decided is to create this Pax Lodge bus challenge. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to screen share. And let's get this PowerPoint up and running and let's get on the bus.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. So isn't our event badge absolutely gorgeous?
Oh, it is. I love it.
And of course, it's got a string of pearls on there, and that represents 30. And for the Pax Lodge Bus Challenge, there's 5 sections. P for peace, which I've done with a friend, Claire. E, environment, done with a friend, Susan. The arts, I've done with MJ and Beverly. Royalty, Tadea. So I'm really looking forward to chatting to you about London locations. L.
I am so thrilled to be doing locations. It brought back a lot of memories and I loved it.
Right. So our first spot, Pax Lodge. There's lots of ways people can find out about Pax Lodge and what to do. Have you looked at the new activity pack that tells you all?
It's wonderful.
And also there's links now for the volunteers, because we're going to need some volunteers when we reopen in 2022.
Oh, definitely.
And as we say, you can always chat to people, or hopefully you can join a session. Pax Lodge is definitely a place where strangers soon become friends.
Well, we sure managed to.
I think we've been friends now, 12, 13 more years or more now.
Yep, since the 18th anniversary of Pax Lodge. Been a while.
Wow. So you can have lots of fun being a friend. Can you remember at the Global Friendship Session, we made these?
Yes, I do.
Little key rings about the world flag. And we've had lots and lots of campfires. And of course, we've got the challenge packs. What's your favourite challenge pack?
Well, of course, I like the Harry Potter one, just because that's my favorite. Otherwise, it would be probably the history ones that I like, the footsteps of the founders.
And so of course, Catherine's doing those virtual videos for the birthday, isn't she? Going around places in London.
She is. In fact, I'm looking at one of the pictures at the corner there, Buckingham Palace. That was taken during our 25th anniversary. So that was 5 years of fun times that we've had.
Yeah. And we've done quite a bit of service well as friends. I remember going up to Hampstead and we helped with the Filipino Girl Scouts there.
We did. We did. It was a great day. And the weather was beautiful. We couldn't have had it any better that day.
So the Pax Lodge 30th Birthday Challenge badge. What we're going to do is look at the 5th window in the bus, London locations. So let's get on the bus, just as my new Pax Lodge scarf says. So what happens at 9 o'clock each morning then?
Flag ceremony.
You don't like that particularly. It's a bit early for you, isn't it?
I have a long, big time zone difference, so it's always hard for me to get up in the morning.
Yeah, and it's not very nice when it's cold and wet either.
No.
Cool. So at 9 o'clock every morning we have our flag ceremony and we raise our world flag and we also raise our Pax Lodge flag. And outside the Pax Lodge building, there's lots and lots of international flags as well, isn't there?
There are. They're from all the countries where we've got people who have come to visit Pax Lodge.
And if you're sitting in the dining room, I know there's a shelf in there, and that's got international flags on, but I think they're only for the volunteers and staff that are actually working at the time you're there, aren't they?
That's correct. Because we have visitors who change every single day, so it is hard to keep up with everybody. But so the flag display now is just of the staff and volunteers.
Yeah. And as well as the World flag and Pax Lodge flag, we have occasionally raised some other flags, such as the Commonwealth flag. We did that at the 25th birthday, didn't we? Because it was
We
Commonwealth
did. We were
Day.
planning to do that for this week too, but we were not able to do it.
And of course, when you go down London, you see lots and lots of these flags, don't you? It's the Union flag. You can see it on the Houses of Parliament. Did you know you've got to hang it up or fly it up a certain way?
I did not.
If you don't have this bit, this stripe to the top, then if you've got it this way up, it means SOS and you're calling for help. And the other thing, some people call it a Union Jack. It's only a Union Jack when you fly it from the back of a ship.
That's right.
So you can often see Union flags all around London. It's our flag for the United Kingdom. And did you know that Liz is doing some virtual programs on All the Saints? Because this red cross that's going right through the middle for England, that's St. George. The blue part and the white cross, that represents Scotland's St. Andrew. And then we've also got St. Patrick, the red diagonal cross and the white background for Ireland. Fortunately, we haven't got St. David's, Wales on there because it was a principality. But you can learn more about it if you go on these saint sessions.
Super.
Do you know the other place you can see a flag flying, but it's not the Union flag?
Oh, well, at the castles where the Queen lives, like
Yeah.
Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle.
Yeah. If you go to Buckingham Palace, what we normally do is go and see if the Royal Standard is flying. That's the Queen's own flag. If that's flying, then it means she's in residence. Now, at the moment, during the pandemic, it's not flown above Buckingham Palace. Instead, it's flown above Windsor Castle because that's where she's been staying for the last year. Now, one of the Pax Lodge bus challenges for London locations is design your own flag to show what represents you. And guess what? I've done a flag for you.
You have?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I've put the World Badge in one of the quadrants because you're a member of the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. Then, because you live in Florida, in the Orlando area, I've done sun and sea and sand, which I really miss. And I've done a little Mickey Mouse silhouette. And then because you're a great fan of Harry Potter, I've done his flash that he's got on his forehead, a wizard's hat and a broom. And then because you love traveling, especially flying around the world, I put a little, I love London because you really love Pax Lodge, and an aeroplane with the world.
Oh, thank you. How clever.
So you can do whatever flag, but as long as it represents you.
Well, thank you.
We love going around London, don't we?
Oh, we do. We do.
One of the ways is going on the tube or the underground. So you can either go underground, or there's also the Docklands Light Railway and the overground, and you can use your Oyster card.
That's right. If you're going to Pax Lodge, when I get there, I've usually got suitcase with me. So I get off at Hampstead Station, because then you can go downhill. If I'm leaving Pax Lodge with my suitcase, then of course I still want to go downhill and go to Belsize Park Station. That one is the closest one. But with luggage, it's a whole lot easier to roll it downhill.
Belsize Park's on the Northern Line. Did you know there's 270 stations on 11 different lines? So,
I did not know that until you showed me.
Yeah, there's over 1 billion passengers travel round on the Underground. And to help us find our way, Dennis and Dave have been redecorating the London Room. They managed to do it before lockdown last year, and they put a huge tube map up on the wall so you can have a look and see where you're going before you actually get on the Underground.
That's right. Do you know how to get what you have to watch for though when you're going on the Underground to get back to Pax Lodge?
Well, I know when you're going into town, you've got to watch which way you're going, because the line splits and goes via Bank or Charing Cross. But can you remind me what station you got to look out for when you come back because of the split?
You're right. We have to take the Northern Line, and then we have to get off, make sure that we are on the Edgware branch. Otherwise, you will wind up in the wrong place. But our
I
branch,
think you end up at High Barnet, don't you?
Yes. And that can be nowhere near where you want to be.
The best thing is pick up a tube map or find one in your guides and that and carry it around with you.
Right.
You can also get ones for buses as well. But if you go on the Transport for London website, the TfL website, it really helps you to get around.
That's what I usually use when I'm going someplace I'm not familiar with.
So one of the challenges on the bus challenge is to make a word search. So I've actually made a word search of Underground stations that are on the Northern Line. And the Northern Line is the Black Line. So I'll send that to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
My favourite way of getting around is actually getting around on the bus.
Oh, mine too.
Go on the top deck and you can see everything as you go along. Takes a bit longer though, doesn't it?
Sometimes it doesn't take a whole lot longer, but it is certainly a lot more fun way to get around.
And of course, when you get into London, if you want, you can take a sightseeing tour, a hop on, hop off. And did you know you can actually go on an afternoon tea bus now?
Yes, I was hoping that we would be able to do that when we were in London next.
Well, perhaps we can. If you look on the sides of buses, quite often they have posters. Here's one showing Harry Potter, which you absolutely love. But they advertise they advertise all sorts of things. One of the challenges is to design 2 posters to go on the sides of a double-decker bus. You can advertise Pax Lodge maybe on one side and what you love about London on the other.
That would be great. I think that's an exciting thing to do.
Now, another challenge is about the London skyline and building or drawing your own London skyline. There's lots of things you can see. Now, Dave and Dennis, they actually love building things. That's why they chose this challenge. Here's Dennis helping making the luggage rack in the new luggage room. Unfortunately, it hasn't been used yet.
I know, there's so much that they worked on that we haven't been able to use in the last year.
And I said, Dave really loves building. He likes going to Legoland. Here it's showing Whitehall. But do you know what he's been doing at the moment? He's been trying to build a dinosaur. I think he's been thinking of the dinosaurs that are at Crystal Palace.
Probably. I love the dinosaurs at the Crystal Palace because because when they were done, people didn't really know what dinosaurs really looked like. They had a few bones. And so they don't look like anything that you would find in a museum right now, but that makes them very interesting.
Again, on one of Catherine's videos where she's going around London, I think she shows you some.
That's right.
I love going at the London Eye, but I must admit, I don't like going right up to the glass. I tend to sit on the bench, and I like it at night when you can see all the lights.
I love seeing London at night.
And here's a picture of the Shard and Tower Bridge. Have you been up the Shard?
Yes, I have. In fact, I think one of the next slides has got a picture I took from the Shard.
Ah, and of course, there's Tower Bridge, not London Bridge. What
Correct.
actually happened to London Bridge?
Well, Tower Bridge is by the Tower of London, which is the reason it's called the Tower Bridge. And it was actually only built at the end of the 19th century, so it's a fairly new bridge. The London Bridge has been rebuilt many times. The last time was, I think it opened in 1971, because in 1968, the previous London Bridge that was only 136 years old, anyway, it was replaced. It was called a Stone Arch Bridge, and it was sold to an American who spent over $2 million for it and relocated it to Havasu City, Arizona. And the story is he thought he was buying the Tower Bridge and not the London Bridge.
Ah. Okay, and there's all sorts of different shapes. If you walk along the South Bank, you can see them. Here you've got St. Paul's Dome, and then you can see buildings like the Gherkin and the Walkie Talkie. And you know what, there's a cheese grater, and I've heard they're actually building another cheese grater.
Oh my goodness.
And if you go on
London does have very interesting architecture.
If you go up Hampstead Heath, you can go up Parliament Hill, sometimes called Kite Hill, and you look across the city, can't you?
Oh yes, it's a beautiful view, and it's a wonderful hike from Pax Lodge.
And the other place, can you remember on the 25th birthday, we went up the LCO Middle Orbit, up down in Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park in Stratford?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
I think you can slide down that now.
Yes, yes. We weren't able to do it that day because it was closed the day we were there for the 25th anniversary.
And the other thing, you can go across the cable car, so you can get lots and lots of views of London and the skyline for different places.
Definitely.
So you can have fun building your own London skyline, maybe out of cardboard boxes or building bricks, or even draw it. But remember, there's lots of iconic shapes of buildings.
They certainly are.
Now, one of the other challenges you can do is to create your own travel brochure. We have lots of brochures and books about London in the London Room that you can look at. So what I've decided, I set you the challenge to tell me what your favourite places are and what you would put in your travel brochure and why. So.
Well, okay. Well, first of all, I have a picture in the conference room in Pax Lodge, because of course I'm not going to do anything without making sure that I get to Pax Lodge every time I'm in London. This time, that picture was taken when we had the Global Friendship Session. So we had guests from the Philippines, Canada,
Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah, it was, that's right. It was interesting, and it was a fun time that we had. And during that trip, then we were able to visit a lot of other places around London. But one of the last times I was in London, I like going to Kew Gardens, and I'm not somebody who really likes gardens that much, but I find Kew Gardens absolutely fascinating. And when the last time I was there, I was able to take this picture with the Chihuly art sculptures. And so an artist that I love seeing, and then being in that beautiful venue of Kew Gardens just made it what we thought was going to be a 2-hour stay at the Kew Gardens. We were there the whole day. So it was a wonderful, wonderful place to be.
I like going at Christmas time because you can walk around and there's all lights and that.
Oh, fantastic. I'll have to come over sometime over Christmas.
Yeah.
Another one of my
St. Bride's.
St. Bride's. And St. Bride's is a church that's near St. Paul's Cathedral. What I like about St. Bride's is it is, even though St. Bride's is a name, and it, as you can see by the steeple, it's what actually inspired the original wedding cake that had the different layers of it. But St. Bride's is actually St. Bridget. So it's an anglicized version of St. Bridget. So, but it is a beautiful, beautiful Christopher Wren church. It was built right after the big London fire. And what I love about it, not only the architecture is beautiful, but it's not crowded. You go to St. Paul's or you go to Westminster Abbey, and the music is beautiful, but you are very crowded and there's lots of people and lots of standing in line. You go into St. Bride's just before the service or evensong, and you can go right in. Oftentimes I'll sit in the choir area. Their choir is outstanding. The beauty of the church is outstanding. And it is known as the church, a spiritual church, home of the media, I should say, because it sits on Fleet Street, which is where the newspapers in London used to all be. So there's a chapel there that is a memorial basically to the journalists that are around the world. And a piece that I love about it, that piece is they don't have to be Anglican to be honored there. They're journalist drivers and the journalists themselves. So it really is a wonderful, wonderful church to be.
There's lots of churches and places of worship for different faiths you can visit around London. You can go to mosques and temples, all sorts. What about the Peter Pan statue then?
Well, I was trying to think of someplace because London has got so many gardens. There's Hyde Park, there's Hampstead Heath that we've already seen pictures of. I love Primrose Hill, another place close to Pax Lodge where you can see the City of London from. But this is in Kensington Gardens. And Peter Pan was a statue that was donated by J.M. Barrie, the man who wrote Peter Pan, and in 1912. And for those of us in the United States, 1912 is a big deal because that's when Girl Scouting was started. But it was also when the Baden-Powells were married. So a lot happened in 1912. I love how it kind of represents what we find around London and all the gardens and all the parks and just so much that you can spend hours and hours and hours wandering just around the parks.
We actually refer to the Peter Pan statue in the arts video for the bus challenge, and we also talk about the parks in the environment video for the challenge.
Yes.
Now here's some more of your favourite spots. I see you've got the London Eye and the views from there.
Right.
And Tower of London and Tower Bridge.
And that was taken from the Shard at night.
Ah. Why do you like Hampstead Heath so much?
Because it's close by Pax Lodge, so it's easy to get to. I love to walk, and I walk a lot. But I like that here we are in busy, busy London, and here's someplace I can walk to that's quiet, and I can enjoy being out of doors, and you don't feel like you're in a big city, and yet you really are. I mean, it's an amazing feeling to be up there on the Heath.
Yeah. Have you ever been swimming there in one of the outdoor ponds?
I have not, because I'm never there in the summertime, and you're not going to get me in any cold water.
We often get the bus down and get off at Nelson's, near Nelson's Column, don't we, at Trafalgar Square?
Trafalgar Square is another place that I absolutely love. I talk about the peace and that I find in Hampstead Heath, whereas Trafalgar Square has got a lot of energy and people there. There's street entertainers. There's usually some sort of fair going on. You're right by the National Gallery. You're right by St. Martin in the Fields. You've talked about those in the arts section. And so there's always so much going on, and it's right in the center. Everything kind of forms a spoke off of Trafalgar Square to be able to go one direction, you're going to Buckingham Palace, another to go into Leicester Square. So it really is a centerpiece for London.
Do you know there's the smallest police station there?
You showed that to me one time.
Yeah, it's like a broom cupboard now. But it's
right.
Blue and white. It's just on the corner, and you can just about get one person in there.
The other thing that I like about what happens there at Trafalgar Square and why I keep going back is the plinth that you're showing isn't that Nelson's ship that's in a bottle?
I think so.
So that is a changing sculpture that goes up on there. Right now, my understanding is there's a dollop of whipped cream with a topping, a cherry, a fly, and a drone. And so each time I'm there, I like going down to see what might be on that plinth.
Yeah. And you regularly go to the Harry Potter studio, don't you?
Oh, heavens, yes. I've done most things Harry Potter. I've taken the Harry Potter walking tour. I've gone, I've seen, like I said before, I've seen the Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. And for a couple trips, I've gone out to the making of Harry Potter. It's a little bit out of the city. You take a train out there. But it is where the sets are from Harry Potter. So you can see where the Great Hall was, and Harry Potter's aunt and uncle's house, and just all the sets that were used. It's absolutely fascinating to see how they made the characters. And anyway, if you're interested at all in Harry Potter or in movie making, it's absolutely fascinating.
And of course, you've got the Harry Potter challenge that you can do at Pax Lodge and gain another badge.
Exactly, exactly.
The last photo, it's both our favourites, going down to Leicester Square and to Theatreland and that.
Right. I every time I go, I want to at least see one show, if not two. And one year we were able to be there 5 days and saw 4 shows. So that was my good trip.
I'm looking forward to seeing the new one by Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber, Cinderella, next year.
I hope to see that when we get there.
Sometimes around the streets, especially if it's something like the Lord Mayor's show, you might see these ladies and gentlemen. The reason I put them into here is they're called Pearly Kings and Queens. And of course, it's our 30th birthday, and 30 is pearls. And these Pearly Kings and Queens, they originated from a gentleman called Henry Croft. And he was actually a street sweeper. And he decided to collect money for different charities around London. And he dressed up so people can see him in these suits that got, it must be hundreds of these little mother of pearl buttons sewn onto them. Do you know, he actually lives somewhere in the borough of Camden, which the borough that Pax Lodge is in. I've never found.
I was fascinated to learn that.
So we need to find out a little bit more about him, I think, when we go down next. And I agree. And I think his statue where he's buried is somewhere in Spitalfields.
Oh my.
So that's something new for us to find out.
We tend to make our list of new places to see, so we'll put that on our next list.
Now, quite a few people, when they come to Pax Lodge, support us in different ways and trying to promote Pax Lodge for us. Sometimes the friends, they have stalls and they might sell things like Linda's birds. This one's got some of the London bus on.
Those are so adorable.
You know, she's making some pearl ones this year.
Yes, she is.
And I know some of the friends in the USA, they held a virtual lunch, didn't they? That was fun.
That was the first time we had done something on a virtual level. So but we got to meet a lot of people, got new people we are part of Friends of Pax Lodge USA. And so we were able to actually have new members join us, which was really exciting. You'll see there the picture with our committee and our previous World Center manager, Nico. And that was at our convention that didn't take place this year. The picture was taken in 2017. And so when we have Girl Scouts of the USA National Convention, all of the World Centers have a display, a booth basically, to be able to let people know who we are, what we are, and how much fun we have. And
of course, this year we've had to do a lot with virtually, haven't we? So if you go on the World Centre's virtual program, there's not just programs about Pax Lodge. You can do cooking from Sangan. I think there's Bollywood dancing. I think they're doing the Goose Game from our chalet. And I think they're going to put some sessions on later this year from Kusafiri. And there's probably some from Arcabania.
Right. We have some also from Pax Lodge. I think there's Saints and Queen Elizabeth's birthday and a history one that will be coming up that I will be involved with.
And if you look on the front of Pax Lodge, we've actually got the logos for all the other World Centres as well. That
We
shows
are
we're
all
not just the
promoting
only
each other.
world. And of course, Catherine's been busy doing things like Daisy's London Life virtual tours, hasn't she, to support
She
us?
has. She has. Getting ready for this event, she decided that there was a lot that more than what we could do in our short weekend, and so now she does these virtual tours of Daisy's Life. That's Juliet Gordon-Low, as well as Agnes Baden-Powell. So we are excited about what she's been doing.
And I say, unfortunately, Pax Lodge is shut at the moment, but Amir, here's a picture of him. When I managed to meet him in December. He's taking care of it for us and keeping in touch. So we'd like to thank him and Liz, who's helping sort out the virtual program, and those in the World Bureau as well.
Right. That, you know, we wouldn't be able to have the World Centers ready to open if we didn't have those dedicated to taking care of our World Centers available.
Yeah. So, and of course, there's the 30th birthday challenge. So hopefully everyone will have a go at that, whether you're sort of rainbow, daisy age, to those older members that are leaders and maybe Trefoil Guild.
Right. It's been fun putting together all of our challenges.
So whether it's raining in London, you can do indoor things. So what I've done here, I've selected some things from the 5 sections that we've got. So peace, you could go to Westminster Abbey and you can see the memorial of Lord and Lady Baden-Powell. If you go environment, perhaps you'd like to go to the London Aquarium. You can learn about the River Thames in there. We went past the Albert Hall, didn't we, on the Global Friendship Week? Have you ever done a concert there?
I have not.
So that's lovely. It's a big circular building. We hold our remembrance services there in November. And then if you wanted to meet the Queen, of course, you can meet her at Madame Tussauds Waxwork Museums. And that's near where Sherlock's Home Museum is as well.
That's right.
And of course, there's lots and lots of different museums and most of them for free. So perhaps for a change, you could go to the London Science Museum.
That sounds fascinating.
And of course, if it's shining, London is your oyster, and that's where we get our pearls from. So again, I've covered the 5 sections. Peace, you could walk down Whitehall, maybe have a picture taken of 10 Downing Street. Unfortunately, with the situations in the world, we can't actually go in front of the door these days. The gates are barred across, but you can look through. And then opposite is the cenotaph as well, where we remember the war dead. You could go to do something environmental. As you say, there's lots and lots of parks. But have you ever been to Mudchute Farm? It's a city farm on the Isle of Dogs.
I didn't know there was an Isle of Dogs. Again, we've got our list that we need to do the next time in London.
And even, you don't have to go into a theatre. You can go to shows and watch films outside. One of the favourite places people go to is outside Chiswick House or the Royal Chelsea Hospital.
That sounds wonderful, or a fun thing to do. And being out, I love being out of doors, so that would be great.
And royalty, again, outside when you're going down towards Buckingham Palace, if you go around, you might see some of the household cavalry. Get your picture taken with one of them and the horses.
Right. There's a sign there that says that the horses bite, so just a caution.
Yeah. And of course, we both love walking. So one of our favourite, walking down from Pax Lodge to Camden Market and the Locks.
That's right.
And then when you get down there, you can walk along the path, along Regent's Canal, past the zoo, all the way up to Paddington Station and Little Venice.
Yes.
So I think we proved that we absolutely love London, don't you?
Oh, we do love London.
So until we are able to meet up again face to face, I think you and I and the rest of the friends of Pax Lodge UK, and we've also got some in other parts of the world, hope you enjoy having a go at our Pax Lodge 30th birthday challenge. you going
Yeah.
going to celebrate any other virtual events for the birthday?
Yes, we will be having the virtual tour that Catherine's put together, as well as some activities with that. We have an activity booklet that will accompany that. We have our campfire. We've got the portions of this challenge. And then we have 11sies on the 15th, which is when we get to celebrate the actual birthday of Pax Lodge.
That sounds fantastic. I'm sure I'm going to see you at those.
Oh,
So,
definitely.
until the 13th, 14th, and the actual birthday on the 15th, I'm going to say goodbye to you now. So I'm going to wave my little flag and hopefully to see you at 9 o'clock sometime at Pax Lodge when we have flag ceremony.
I'll get there.
Okay then, bye.
Bye.